Welcome back to the Bob and Tom Show.
Hello.
Now we once again meet and greet comedian Drew Hastings, who's been living in Los Angeles, California for quite some time. Drew is a...
Threw it all away.
6'6".
I have not thrown it all away.
Sounds like it to me.
Let's give a little background here, please. Drew is, 6'6", like, 180, slender, tall,
I'm
sophisticated.
210.
Really?
180.
You look 180.
180.
Yeah, black is very slimmy.
I'd be on an AIDS cocktail.
I'm sorry. What I meant to say was, but Drew is a tall, sophisticated guy. You wear those same glasses.
Angular.
Who made those glasses famous?
Al Sharpton. They're big, black, and you can see right through them. Now, I should hold on. There are some people that will construe that as being racist. You know, a friend of mine said, Drew, people are not born racist, they're taught racism. I said, you're right. I remember my third grade racism teacher, Mrs. Davis.
No, excuse me. Could we move on? But you're a tall guy.
Yes.
You wear... What kind of shirt is that? Is it some fancy designer shirt? What is
I don't know. It's probably a
Calvin
Miu
Klein
Miu or something. I don't know.
Miu Miu.
That's actually a designer.
Jeez. In any event, and who was the famous actor that wore the glasses?
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine, who I happen to love.
And what do they call them? Isn't there some name for those things?
Well, there's a few of them. There's the Rodenstock Rocco, which I've always worn.
Rodenstock Rocco.
Yeah, this is a pair by Mizrahi.
Who?
Mizrahi.
Mizrahi?
Yeah.
See, these,
Isaac Mizrahi.
Isaac Mizrahi.
like these are the ones I'm wearing?
He's a designer.
Well, those look like a readers from the Walmart.
These happen to be from Sears, mister. And I resent that. And with us in the studio, fellow Sears shopper,
Yes.
and galleon shopper, it's our good friend Rupert from Survivor.
Hey.
And Rupert has some cool T-shirts on his website and stuff. And, a funny thing happened. I actually know Rupert's brother, and there was a picture taken of us a while back. It's me, Rupert, and his brother.
Yes.
And I had his brother say to Tom, "Who the hell is the other guy standing next to you?"
You know what? And it's effective because I said, "Who's this guy?"
Wow.
I saw the picture yesterday. I asked Sam, I go, "Who's this guy?" So that's Rupert's brother.
But I had Rupert's brother say, "Who the hell is Rupert?"
Right, I know. It's very funny.
Rupert got famous on TV, and everybody knows who he is. That's got to be a little bit weird. And I've watched you in action. I heard a story about you went to a place to sign stuff, and you ended up being there for 4 hours, and you wouldn't leave until everybody got their things signed, because you don't want to be a jerk.
Oh, right.
You got to be nice, but
right.
After a while, it's
well, I was that guy last year, a couple years ago, that would stand in line for hours waiting for autographs, and I hated it when people leave. You've been there for hours, and they leave.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've signed for 6-8 hours at a time. Had thousands and thousands of people show up.
Have you learned to do this yet? After a while, you learn to do things like, especially when you're signing a shirt they just bought. You go, now, is that John John or Jon?
Oh yes.
But what's funny is the people that resent it. It's John.
JAWN.
Yeah.
What's your problem?
You're right. Don't you know?
Yeah, don't you know how to spell
Don't you
John?
know?
Yeah. And there's always
Thank you.
There's always the names they get out of a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her name is Bahilda. Well, how nice is that?
Behemoth?
Is that a family name, or were you playing Scrabble and lost?
What a lovely name.
I get that when I sign autographs. A lot of times I look up and I'll say, now, is that Acme Collections with an AK?
Or an AC?
AC. No. I see. Now, is this chapter 9 or 11? How am I signing this?
No, Rupert, can you talk about any of the projects you're working on?
Oh yeah. When people say that they can't talk about, I don't know. I'm still so new in this field. I talk about anything.
Would you like to do something? I gather with animals, some kind of a snake thing, or
the Animal Planet is out there talking about.
Yeah, who the hell isn't talking to you, Rupert?
Well, I'll tell you what. We have a special treat for you guys. I think you might enjoy this. This is my favorite show that we incorporated into this program here on the Bob and Tom program. This is called 3 Questions With.
Time now for 3 Questions With. Now, here's your host, Phil Mondor.
Welcome to 3 Questions With. My guest today is comedian Drew Hastings. Drew, thanks for coming in. Is that chair comfortable?
Yes, fine, thank you.
Good. I appreciate you coming in. Did you have trouble finding the studio?
No, not at all.
Great. Wanted to find out, what's Rupert really like?
You slimy two-bit motherfucker. I thought you were going to talk about my career on here. I didn't drive over here for my help.
This has been 3 Questions With. Join us next week for 3 Questions With Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston to give their thoughts on meeting Rupert.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I was off the Buse bar for 3 months.
And now
I'm back.
By the fistful after this show.
Drew Hastings is our guest, and along with Rupert from Survivor. Now, Drew, are you back on the smokes?
Yes, I'm back on the smokes. I would have
Now,
thought that...
no, you're back in this cabin in the woods. Now, do you go into town every few days? How does that work?
I buy a carton about every 4 or 5 days. I go in to check mail and go in and look at the headlines. I peer through the news rack and I say, "Oh my God, we're at war." and I usually flip through and see what Rupert's doing. Usually I'll scan to see what Rupert's doing, and then I go back to the cabin and try to skin.
Now, let me ask this: I know you're working on developing some of your stand-up.
Yes.
You're there in the woods by yourself. I know your girlfriend.
My girlfriend is with
She's
me.
gone off on various side trips to recover her sanity.
Yes.
Talk to adults.
Yes, and go get her nails done, things like that.
Now, do you perform stand-up in your cabin, or do you walk out?
You do it for the possum?
Hey, thanks for all you possums showing up tonight. Any birthdays? Anybody celebrating anything tonight? Oh, I see you've had a new baby. Great.
You guys probably want to hear my new hunk about Rupert.
I just do my thing. And I've spent my time actually driving around a lot in rural areas lately looking for real estate. And I can tell you right now that I think there's a drastic shortage in this country of exclamation points because they've all been taken by realtors. Have you ever noticed that? Oh, they're anxious. Must sell. Great starter home. Former meth lab. Move right in. Everything's like that.
Water table slightly tainted.
Yes. No, it's all like that. Owner Wolf and Ants. Pergo Floors. Get house.